Three, two, one, action. What's going on, everybody? Zach Even-Esh here, UndergroundStrength.tv. We got Dan Gibson here from Strength Haven. He's in Indiana. And to give you guys a quick background, quick intro on him, and we'll kind of get into the story. Dan won a competition, an inspiration contest a couple of years ago to attend the Underground Strength Coach certification. And I used to do those a little more frequently. I might have to do that again because the people that have come through, like Dan, have been awesome. And he was, I'm going to share the video. So, those of you listening or maybe watching this on YouTube, get to undergroundstrength.tv to see this. But you're going to see Dan's inspiration video. He was training in his dad's auto garage, doing dips off of a forklift, like doing a lot of cool stuff. And the background now, you're in the gym. I see the York plates. I see a lot of amazing stuff going on with you on Facebook, and also just better stuff than the gym. But, you look real happy. Pictures with the family, and you're just in a good place. And I know when you did the inspiration contest, you were kind of like in the middle. And talk to us about, why you even did the inspiration contest. Most people think, I can't win, or I'm not going to inspire anybody. Why did you do that inspiration contest? Then we're going to kind of get into where you are right now.
Yeah, I did that contest just because I lived in Arizona, and I was doing just the regular personal training stuff, and when everything tanked out there, like in a 90-day span, we lost like 75% of our income. So that had a big effect on my self-esteem and stuff like that. And then we decided to move back to Indiana, and I had started watching some of your videos in Arizona. Decided, look, let's move back to Indiana. We're going to get the kids closer to my grandparents, stuff like that. But I was in a pretty dark place, honestly. I mean, you can probably tell by the video. Just trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to keep trying to train people. And then I was watching more of your videos and kind of just re-sparked that whole interest in training. And I realized in Arizona that when I was working with the athletes, that's when I was the happiest. And so I did that inspirational contest and thought, look, if I can go meet you, figure out, what makes you tick, maybe I can get in a better place. And really that's exactly what happened. Went out there, met with you, got my head a little more clear, got some of my self-esteem back, because it's crushing when you go from being pretty successful and all of a sudden 90 days like you're trying to figure out how you're even going to buy groceries for your family. So I was doing all kinds of just trying to make ends meet, and then so I made that video. Grateful that I was lucky enough to win, went out, met you, and it just really re-sparked my interest. And what I decided after the contest was either I'm gonna make it doing exactly the way that I want to do it, not trying to take on everybody and be an everybody kind of guy, but I'm gonna design my programs. I'm gonna pick those people that I want to train, and either my way's gonna work or I'm gonna drive truck delivering tires. And so I've been lucky enough to just bust it and keep going, and I do what I want the way that I want now.
So if we just back up for a little bit, when you say, everything tanked in Arizona in 90 days, I think you were out at the CERT about 4 or 5 years. I feel like it was 4 or 5 years ago. I don't recall exactly. But what happened? What happened out there actually?
That's when the whole housing market and everything crashed.
Yes.
So a large majority of my personal training clients were like the custom home builders or the wives of those guys, all these. I worked with a few athletes, which made me really happy, but then I trained a lot of, honestly, soccer moms and wealthy dads and stuff. And so all of a sudden, it was just like one after the other coming in and saying, hey, look, I'm sorry, I'm not going to I'm not going to be able to continue. And looking back on it now, like, there were a lot of people that owed me money that have still never paid me, and I got angry, but I looked back and realized, look, they didn't have it to pay anymore,
right,
which left me not having it to pay anymore, and just now I look back and realize it was all a blessing in disguise. It's all worked out.
Yeah, and now I remember a buddy of mine I used to train with as a kid. He was in Vegas, and he was doing real estate stuff, and he moved back to New Jersey. The economy just went kind of like crazy. So you moved back to Indiana, and what were you in Indiana? That's where your dad's garage was, the auto garage.
Yeah. I grew up in Indiana. I'd met my wife. She's from Arizona. We lived out in Arizona. But yeah, we just decided, basically my dad said, look, if you need something to do, this can be a consistent paycheck. You come work for me. And I didn't know what else to do, but some of the people, I've got 5 brothers, and so our name was pretty well known in terms of athletes. We'd done pretty well. And so once I moved back, there were just a couple people that were like, hey, we heard you're moving back. Can you work with us? And so Dad said, look, work with me when you can, and if you can take on some clients. And so that's what I did. But then I met with my cousin whose son played hockey, and then it started rolling, got the hockey team in, and that's when I decided, like, either it's going to work the way that I want it to, or I'll be a delivery guy and at least be happy with my family. So
Yeah, were you training people in your dad's garage? I mean, it was a big warehouse. Is that where you were?
Yeah, we would move the forklifts, and we were doing stuff in that aisleway.
Yes.
We were going outside in the back lot, and so I did that for almost a year. And then that picture that I posted last week on the Underground, the Mastermind, where I remember when I finally got that the commercial space where I'm at now, and then we've ended up blowing through a wall and expanding some, but then after that I ended up moving into this space. And I can just remember with what little equipment I had, just finally thinking, like, I've arrived. This is going to work. I've got everything that I could possibly need. And then we've just grown from there.
Cool. And who do you train? Adults still, or just athletes?
Yeah, no, I will take on adults, but the only rule that I have is that anybody that trains here has to compete in some sort of sport. So, I mean, we have a 45-year-old. We've got 45-year-old moms, and we've got some dads, but they're all, when they come in, they've got to sign up for even if it's just a 5K,
nice,
or a run or something. Everything that we do is athletically measured. I'm not doing I just want to lose 10 pounds game anymore, because every time I've played that game in the past, you could help them drop 20 pounds, but they're still going to say they're fat. Here, they blast through a 5K. The next one, they took a minute and a half off. Like, that's clearly measurable, and so that's how we measure our success.
That's awesome. So everybody has to compete, and how are people finding out about you now? You mentioned like you're very happy, and your people have asked you to speak at like business seminars and things like that. So what's like the way that people find out about you and what goes on at Strength Haven?
Honestly, it's my athletes. They just talk to one another, or the coach will come in. Like, the biggest compliments that I get are when a kid comes in after the summer, coach calls him into the office and was like, look, you realize we drug tested this school, so if you've been taking steroids over the summer, it's like, hey, then I'm doing my job if they think my kids, they come back 20 pounds heavier, faster, stronger. And then it's like, no, man, I just trained all summer. And so that's how stuff is steamrolled. We've picked up other hockey teams, baseball teams, football teams, wrestlers, a lot of MMA guys. And then, we've got a few of the few adults that come in and train. And so it's really just word of mouth. And the nice thing is, when you do grow it by the word of mouth, is they tell their friends, like, look, man, if I'm bringing you in, don't embarrass me. You've got to be willing to step up and adhere to the program. So the people that come in, 99% of the time, they're ready to go, and they're pumped up, and I don't have to constantly stay on them.
Yeah, it's as I always say, like, as much as I try to do different ways to attract people, always the best way and the most successful way that we've experienced has been the word of mouth and the referrals. We're getting the right people that way, and the people that tend to stick with us. Now, one thing I always like to talk about during these success stories is that it's never purely smooth sailing. There's got to be, that's the way it is as an entrepreneur. There's tough times. There's some obstacles we face. What are some obstacles that are kind of memorable for you that you faced while being in this location? So you had to you started out doing stuff in Arizona. Then you started out clearing stuff out of your dad's auto garage, the big warehouse. But what about when you had this place? Any obstacles pop up that kind of challenged you that you had to really rise above to overcome?
Yeah, I mean the price point for one, just because there are a lot of the little gyms. So I mean, they're going to come in and be like, well, I can go pay $29 down the road at the 24-hour fitness, or at the Planet Fitness, I can pay $10 a month. And so I guess my biggest challenge has been getting people to see the value of, look, I'm not a $29 a month gym, but you're also not allowed to come in here and do your own thing. You have to realize everything is programmed. We're going to sit down. You're going to tell me what it is you want to do, and it's all designed for you. And it's also not the one-on-one personal training price. I'm not that expensive. So really, it's just been the biggest challenge for me is getting people to see the value of what it is that we do. And then once people start, they're like, dude, you don't charge enough. But, I do.
So what do you do to get people to see the value, to kind of get that into their head so you don't have to really convince, so they know it before they show up?
I mean, if somebody's really adamant about the $29 a month gym, I just tell them to call and ask how much a personal training session is, or 5 personal training sessions is. It's like, look, that's the attention you're going to get here without that big price tag. And then once they call their $29 a month gym and realize it's $60, $80, $100 an hour to work with their personal trainer, then they see the value. A lot of times people just come in and just the atmosphere, they just want to be a part of it. We've usually got music rocking. There's a lot of people doing, just putting in work. And so people come in and they feel that the atmosphere is different and they want to be a part of that.
Awesome. One I always tell, a lot of people, I guess, see what I do. They might see what you do, and they think that we are doing all these crazy tricks of marketing to get people. And the thing that I always do is I just say, hey, I prove my results, with a very long track record of success, before and after photos, video interviews of the adults or the parents of the athletes, and just being a great trainer, being a great coach is the ticket. And I think also it's like you have to, something that we're never really comfortable with as coaches is you have to kind of tout. You can't just say, hey, we're great. You have to really prove it. You have to show all that stuff. So I know that's something that people see looking at your place. How big is your gym, that we see here?
It's about, in terms of usable gym space, it's about 3,500 square feet. And then we've got a bathroom, and then I put in a little shower. So it's about 3,500 square feet.
Very cool. And how, what's kind of like a day for you of coaching? So today is a weekday. Did you train people this morning, or?
No, we just train in the afternoon and then into the evening. The majority of the athletes are high school, college kids, so we start at about 2:30, and we only go till about 6:30 or 7.
Nice.
I do some other things, some business consulting for a couple other gyms in the morning, returning emails, follow-ups, stuff like that.
Cool.
Little bit of program design, but yeah, we're just that second half of the day.
Yeah.
Like today we'll probably have about 40 athletes in, so.
That's great. And how did other coaches or other gyms find out about you? What do they seek your knowledge for? The program stuff, the business stuff?
Around here, yeah, a lot of it's the programming. I mean, I've had a couple, the funny stories where I've got the high school coach who wants to send, finds out one of the athletes to train with me, and he was like, hey, if you could take pictures of every training session, send it to me, and you're going to have some of that goofy stuff. But once the coach meets me, once the coach comes in, sees what's going on, then they're usually on board. I mean, I found that at first a high school coach might be a little defensive until they realize we're on the same team. Like,
right.
I don't want your job. I'm not interested in being a head football coach. I'm interested in helping your team become better. So once you get the coaches on board, it's a lot better.
Yes. Yeah, I really tell the coaches that, listen, we'll just make it easier for you. You don't have to spend as much time after school in the weight room. we will get your kids faster results, safer results. We'll teach them stuff that they could bring back to the high school weight room, and then they could teach the kids that aren't with us. They could kind of pass on, kind of like what Dave Tate talks about, always like passing on that information. And when you start making those connections and reaching out, I mean, that's important. I'm assuming that, like you experience the same thing many strength coaches do, meaning you want to help. So you're reaching out to all these coaches, but a lot of them are going to say no. And some coaches, there's kind of like two paths that they take. One path is they're like, I'm so great, why won't anybody train with me? They start getting all upset about it. Then the other ones, they just kind of find better ways to communicate. How did you improve your communication, your business knowledge? Like, are you going to seminars, investing in business stuff? Like, how did you get better and confident enough to, I guess, make better connections and create more success?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a huge library of books and stuff that I've read, but for me, it's just been going to the guys that I look up to. Like, I'll hit them up and I'll go to their gyms, wherever it is in the country, train with them. I've had guys come here, constantly going to seminars, doing seminars with people. This past weekend, I was doing one with Brian Carroll and Paul Carter in Wisconsin. It's just all the time, just never stop learning and learn from anybody.
Cool.
Some of the coolest things I've learned are just from old school, 65-year-old guy who power lifted for 30 years, but he doesn't have the college degrees or any of that stuff. He's just old school,
experience,
knowledge-based stuff. And so you can learn from anybody. I think the biggest problem is if you think you've learned it all, then it's going to go downhill. So I'm constantly looking to learn and expand my knowledge.
Yeah, I think the mindset is just the ticket for an entrepreneur of any kind to have that. A lot of people ask kind of what's this transition. So you were working and then you started kind of training athletes. What was the transition period like from saying, all right, I'm going all in full time with this?
In terms of me moving back to Indiana, well, in Arizona when I started doing the personal training, it took basically almost 5 years until I decided to just walk away from the good paying job and just take on clients full time. And then I did that for a few years and then it tanked. And then coming back here, it took about a year until I got the commercial space and where I didn't have to do any other stuff part time. But the thing I tell a lot of the coaches is when guys come out here to visit or to train with me and stuff, is they'll walk in and it may happen with you and they're like, they look at the whole facility and they're like, this is amazing, this is awesome, hey, how much did it cost you? It's like, no, man, I built it like one piece at a time, sometimes one plate at a time. I didn't go and get a huge loan. And honestly, some of the equipment that I have is from dudes who got huge loans and tanked. So I built it. I sat down and made a list of the equipment, the brands, the stuff that I wanted specifically, and then it's taken me years, 5 years to get pretty much everything that I've wanted now, but I don't have credit card payment or debt. Everything is paid for. It might not all match exactly, be pretty, but it's all, we get the job done.
Right. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if the equipment matches, and I've never, none of my gyms have ever had matching stuff. Well, listen, I don't want to keep you long because I know, you got the family. Are your kids in school now, or what's, how old are they?
My oldest is 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've got 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls, and they're all in school, and, man, no complaints. Life's good.
That's awesome. That's great. So, for people that want to find out more, let's say they're in Indiana and they want to train with you, or maybe they want to reach out and do some business consulting, how do you like people to get a hold of you? Through Facebook, through the website? What do you prefer?
Yeah, if you look me up on Facebook, it'll say Dan Gibson, Strength Haven. The Strength Haven Gym has a Facebook. If guys want to get on there and click like, they can follow the stuff that we're doing. We usually do at least one fundraiser a year. Probably going to try to expand that to 2. Or they can email me, strengthhaven@gmail.com, and then the website's strengthhaven.com.
Cool. So I'm really pumped that we had this success story interview. Let me ask you one question I like to ask people is, when you attended the cert, I'm pretty sure it was a 2-day cert, or was it a 1-day? Was it 2-day? Can't remember.
I know I got in the night before, came in. Actually, it was a 1-day, but you opened it to where if we wanted to come in that evening, meet you, and see what was going on. So.
Cool. That's right. So I thought it was a 1-day. What was like a big takeaway you got, either mindset and or training from that cert? It was a while ago.
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing was the mindset, that kick in the butt, to where sometimes you just got to be fearless, be willing to take a little bit of a risk. I think we get too comfortable, and once we find that comfort zone and we get settled in, I think that's the fastest way to stop progressing. So for me, it was just get out there and just do work. And so for me, part of that was stop getting fatter, sadder, whatever. It was like, look, man, start hustling again. I mean, I'm 35 years old, started competing again in powerlifting and all that. So just showing now I'm able to show all my athletes that I still got a little gas left in the tank. But yeah, for me, it was just that kick in the butt that I needed. Like, hey, quit, don't talk about it, go be about it.
Yeah. So 35 years old, 4 kids. Left Arizona, moved back to Indiana, built up their own gym. And I think something you mentioned like earlier, just about like kind of like being lucky. And I always tell people, I go, man, the harder you work and the smarter you work, got to be strategic, the luckier we get. I mean, I don't really think that we get lucky. It's like when I look at somebody who has succeeded, I see a lot of hard work and a lot of smart action. And you've got a 13-year-old. Is that a son or daughter?
Yeah, my oldest is a daughter.
Yeah, so you're 35. So you were a dad at age 18, 19?
21.
Age 21. And, it's like you could have made a lot of excuses for all the cards to be stacked against you about how tough life is, how busy, I can't do this, I'm a father, I'm a husband. And you look great, dude. I mean, you transform yourself. I remember when you came to the cert, you were much heavier, and you look great. The gym looks amazing. Is there a video tour of your gym on your YouTube channel that I could link up?
No, I will get that done. I'll try to make that today,
Great.
And I'll post it.
Yeah, maybe do a couple-minute little tour of the gym. I'd love to share it. I mean, it looks amazing. I've seen a lot of photos. So everybody, thanks for listening. We're with Dan Gibson of Strength Haven. What's the town that you're in Indiana?
I'm in Elkhart, Indiana. It's near South Bend, near Notre Dame.
Awesome. Cool. And Zach Even-Esh here from undergroundstrength.tv. That's where I'll be posting this video, along with other videos of Dan, his inspiration video from several years ago, the gym tour. And if you want to get to a cert, go to undergroundstrength.org, click on the calendar, and the audio of this version is going to be on iTunes and Stitcher as the Strongcast, Strong Life Podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening. And Dan, thanks so much. Everybody, talk to you soon. Peace out.